Below is a long, emotional, two-chapter story written in plain paragraphs, with powerful hooks at the start of Chapter 1 and Chapter 2 designed to hold viewers until the very end. The pacing, emotional arcs, and resolutions are crafted specifically for long-form YouTube storytelling. The little girl tugged the hem of her father's worn jacket, looked straight at the trembling Navy soldier, and said softly, "Please don't cry, ma'am. You can borrow my dad." No one at the bus stop understood what she meant, until the soldier fell to her knees. The rain had been falling since dawn, the kind that seeps into bones and patience alike. The bus stop was crowded with tired people clutching umbrellas, bags, and private battles. Among them stood a Navy soldier in full uniform, boots soaked, shoulders stiff, eyes fixed on nothing. Her name was Lieutenant Maya Reynolds, and she hadn't slept in 2 days. The creased photo in her hand was already damp, edges curling, the smile on it fading just like the hope in her chest. Across from her was a man named Daniel Carter, a civilian contractor who worked nights cleaning government buildings. His coat was thin, his shoes scuffed, and exhaustion sat on his face like a second skin. Beside him stood his 6-year-old daughter, Ellie, hopping between cracks in the pavement, humming to herself, blissfully unaware of how heavy the air felt for everyone else. Maya tried to steady her breathing, but her hands shook. She had just returned from a deployment that ended not with relief, but with silence. The house she was heading to no longer felt like home. Her father, the man who had raised her alone, taught her strength, saluted her at graduation, had passed away while she was overseas. She hadn't been there. No goodbye, no last words. Only a folded flag waiting for her on the kitchen table. A drop fell onto the photograph, blurring her father's face. Then another, and another. She didn't realize she was crying until Ellie's voice cut through the rain. "Daddy, why is that soldier sad?" Daniel followed his daughter's gaze. He saw the uniform, the tears, the quiet, controlled grief that only those trained to endure knew too well. He hesitated. People had learned to look away from pain like that. Ellie didn't. She stepped forward before Daniel could stop her, her pink sneakers splashing in a puddle. She looked up at Maya with wide, sincere eyes. "Please don't cry, ma'am," she said gently. "You can borrow my dad." The bus stop went silent. Maya blinked, confused. She crouched down to Ellie's level, trying to smile through tears. "Borrow your dad." Ellie nodded seriously, as if this was the most logical solution in the world. "When I'm sad, my dad lets me hug him. He says hugs help your heart breathe again." Daniel rushed forward, embarrassed. "Ellie, I'm sorry. She's just very kind." But Maya was already crying harder, not from sadness alone, but from something breaking open inside her. "I lost my dad," she whispered. "I just came home." Ellie didn't hesitate. She wrapped her small arms around Maya's neck. Daniel stood frozen, unsure what to do, until Maya looked up at him with an expression that silently asked permission. He nodded. Daniel knelt beside them and rested an awkward, gentle hand on Maya's shoulder. It wasn't a dramatic moment. No speech, no music, just 3 strangers in the rain, sharing the weight of loss. When the bus finally arrived, Maya wiped her face and stood. She looked at Daniel and Ellie. "Thank you," she said. "I didn't know I needed that." Ellie smiled. "You can keep my dad for today," she said. "I'll borrow him later." Maya laughed through tears for the first time in weeks. She didn't know it then, but that small kindness at a forgotten bus stop would change all their lives. 3 days later, a black Navy vehicle stopped outside Daniel Carter's tiny apartment, and Ellie asked the question that made every soldier in uniform freeze. "Did I forget to give my dad back?" Daniel nearly dropped the mop in his hand when he heard the knock. He hadn't expected visitors, especially not 2 Navy officers standing stiffly at his door. "Mr. Carter?" one asked. "We're looking for Lieutenant Reynolds." Before Daniel could answer, Ellie peeked out from behind his leg. "Is she okay?" she asked. She was really sad. The officers exchanged a glance. "She asked to find you." Maya stepped forward slowly. She looked different, still in uniform, but lighter somehow. Steadier. In her hands was a small wooden box. "I hope this isn't strange," she said. "But after that day, I couldn't stop thinking about what your daughter said." They sat inside the modest apartment, surrounded by mismatched furniture and warmth earned through effort, not money. Maya explained that her father had been a Navy mechanic who believed real strength was kindness. Inside the box was his old service medal. "I was going to put this away forever," she said. "But Ellie reminded me that people don't borrow strength. They share it." She turned to Daniel. "I don't have family left, but would it be all right if I stayed in touch?" Daniel swallowed hard. He had spent years believing his life was too small to matter to anyone beyond his daughter. Ellie climbed into Maya's lap. "You don't have to cry anymore," she said. "You can come have dinner with us." Maya closed her eyes, overwhelmed. Weeks turned into months. Maya came for birthdays, school events, late dinners after Daniel's night shifts. She helped Ellie with homework. Daniel fixed her father's old motorcycle. Slowly, what began as borrowed comfort became family. On Veterans Day, Ellie stood on a school stage and told her class, "Heroes don't always wear capes. Sometimes they hold your hand at a bus stop." Daniel watched Maya salute, tears in her eyes, not from grief, but gratitude. Because family isn't always who we're born to. Sometimes it's who we choose, and who chooses us back. Final message. Kindness doesn't ask for permission. Healing doesn't always come from strength. And sometimes, the smallest hearts carry the biggest courage. Final message. Kindness doesn't ask for permission. Healing doesn't always come from strength. And sometimes, the smallest hearts carry the biggest courage.